What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the Back to the Future trilogy. I watched these movies like a week or so ago with my buddy 60. He's a big fan of them, and I figured, you know what, I haven't seen the first one in forever, and I've never seen 2 and 3, so I'm like, fuck it, let's watch them. And I think it's kind of a rare thing to say that, you know, you'd never seen a Back to the Future movie. Granted, I had seen the first one, but honestly, I don't think I had watched it since I was like maybe 10 or something. Like, I hadn't seen the first Back to the Future in forever, and like I said, hadn't seen 2 or 3. And honestly, I had a better time watching these than I thought I would. I thought I'd watch the first one, be like, yeah, it's a good movie, and then, you know, not really have an interest in watching 2 or 3, but once I watched the first one, I'm like, damn, let's watch part 2. These movies are really great. I do think the trilogy as a whole, with all the time travel and shit, you know, time travel is such a finicky thing. There can be so many plot holes and stuff like that, but I don't think it matters with this movie, or these movies, I should say. Like, yeah, there are some things that I think can break your brain if you really start to think about it, but if you just accept it for what it is, you don't have to rack your brain too much. But out of these 3 movies, I would definitely say the first one is my favorite. It's a fucking classic. The ending is incredible, and I had a very nice feeling of satisfaction after finishing the first movie, and like I said, it made me instantly want to watch the sequels. The chemistry between Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd? Yep, I'm getting that right. For some reason, I feel like I always fuck up his name, but, you know, Christopher Lloyd, Michael J. Fox, their chemistry off the charts. And like I said, I felt a certain level of just satisfaction after finishing this movie, but it just has such a warm feeling. It's very welcoming. It's just a very fun movie to watch. Now, granted, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think that Back to the Future is like, you know, an all-timer for me personally, like my favorite movies. I do think it's an all-time classic movie. But when it comes to time travel shit and time travel movies, my favorite is still Hot Tub Time Machine. That's one of the funniest fucking movies of all time.
For your information, I've had a lot of girlfriends. Hot ones.
You have had lots of boyfriends. Gay ones.
But honestly, I feel like any movie that involves time travel is just trying to replicate what Back to the Future did. And it's just the gold standard for that type of plot. Yeah, the first movie's a blast. I'd give it, like, for me, I'd give it like an 8.7. I feel like most people that really like it would easily give it in the 9s. But for me, it doesn't really reach a 9, but still an 8.7. That's pretty fucking good. Now, when it comes to the sequels, I have a bit more mixed feelings, but still very fun movies. I think part 2 fucked with my brain, like, more than the first one did, and was a bit confusing. I didn't feel like it was as tight as the first movie, but I still really like the plot of it, and I think the way that they handle like Biff and those characters like returning and then getting their hands on the DeLorean and all that, I think that was really cool and really well done. But there's just some things that feel weird and kind of out of place in 2 compared to 1, and I honestly can say that I enjoyed part 3 more. I'm a big sucker for like Old West and that type of thing, so I love that setting. So I would say I like 3 more than 2, but 2 is still solid and also another good ending, albeit again kind of confusing if you start to think about it. Honestly, all these movies have very satisfying endings, actually, thinking about it. Probably my main point is don't think about the time travel shit. Just don't. Like, brain cells will begin to fry if you start to think about the logic in these movies. It's like that scene in Austin Powers when they try to explain time travel.
If I travel back to 1969 and I was frozen in 1967, presumably I could go visit my frozen self. But if I'm still frozen in 1967, how could I have been unthawed in the 90s and traveled back to, oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. Speaking
of which, we actually watched the Austin Powers movies as well, right before watching Back to the Future, so apparently we were on that time travel kick. And I also need to make a video talking about Austin Powers, because that's a banger trilogy as well. But there's not really a bad movie in this bunch. Like, it is just a solid trilogy. When it comes to where I would rank it, like in my favorite trilogies of all time, that's pretty hard for me to say. And I'll probably forget about certain trilogies, but the ones that come to my mind immediately are like Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi ones, just to be clear, the Batman Nolan trilogy, you know, with Bale. Shit, I put the Hangover trilogy up there. A lot of people give shit to 2 and 3, but I still love those movies. But what I really like about this trilogy is it all feels like one big story. Like, sometimes sequels are made and they don't really feel the same. Like, everything for Marty in these movies, I think, happens within a week, if not like less than that, maybe a fucking day or so. And when you're watching these movies, you feel that. So this kid just living a normal life, going to school, doing normal shit, all of a sudden has his whole world turned upside down, and within a day or 2, he has gone through more than anybody will go through in a fucking lifetime. So I love that. I think Spielberg just nailed that part of it, like really making it feel like these movies were direct sequels to each other and not having some weird kind of disconnect between like 1 to 2 or 2 to 3. I'd say a good comparison to make is like the way that 28 Weeks Later feels like very very different in tone to 28 Days Later. Because they switched directors, which was the biggest thing, but then it turned into more of an action movie. Back to the Future feels like very cohesive. Pulling out the big words for Russ today. And I really think them filming Back to the Future Part 2 and 3, like back to back, really help with that a lot. If I'm gonna give a rating on 2 and 3, I would say 2 is easily my least favorite, so I'd probably give that like a 7.6. Still a solid score and enjoyable movie. But 3 I enjoyed quite a bit more. I'd give that like an 8.2. But easily, like I said, the first one's my favorite. I think it's just the best movie out of the 3. But when you talk about trilogies, this is a really great one. Probably not something I needed to make a video on to like convince anybody of that. Like, it's a pretty generationally loved trilogy, and I'm sure there are people out there that like 2 more than 1 or 3, you know, over everything. You know, I'm sure there's those people out there. And if you happen to be watching this far into the video and have seen these movies, be sure to let me know which one is your favorite, what would you rank them, and do you like 2 more than 3, or like I just said, possibly 2 or 3 more than 1. But yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to rant on these movies a little bit, trying to get back into the groove of making these movie reviews again, because they're really fun to do. I know they're nothing special, but honestly, I just like talking about shit that I'm passionate about, and I love film, gaming, all that stuff. So as are most of my movie reviews, it's not like a straight up critique, it's just my general thoughts. And my general thoughts on the Back to the Future trilogy is it's definitely worth watching, and the sequels were way better than I thought they were, or thought they were gonna be, I should say. But yeah, that'll do it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to let me know what you thought, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. And just to throw this in there at the end, I said Spielberg, and he is an executive producer, but it's actually directed by Robert Zemeckis, so my bad for leaving his name out. That's on me. That's on my bad. But yeah, that's it. Later.
You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go.